How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Mr. Donahue here once again. This time we're going to take a look at the 1.1 through 3 problems that cover chemistry, matters, and matter and properties of matter, and those things. Yeah, so let's take a look. So 1, blank is not an example of matter in the following choices. So we got all these choices. Well, what exactly is matter? It needs to have mass, and it needs to take up space. So which one of these has no mass or doesn't take up space? Well, table salt definitely is matter. Light looks like it's the one that's not matter. Phosphorus is matter. Dust is matter. Planets are made of matter. So light would be the only example in this list that is not matter. So which of the following can have its components separated by filtering or decanting? And then here are our options. So filtering or decanting is separating it out based on particle size. So compounds, well, you can't separate compounds physically, so filtering and decanting not going to work. Elements, same thing. Heterogeneous mixture, yeah, that's going to be our answer. So examples would be like salad, where you have different components of it all physically mixed together. You can separate those out, right? So filtering, it'd be like sand and water mixture, or even if you had sand or dirt with a bunch of different particle size, you can filter those out using a sieve or something like that. Homogeneous mixtures, not going to work, right? So things like solutions, like if you have sugar water, you can't just filter out the sugar, right? If you have extra undissolved, maybe, but the sugar that's dissolved in the water, not going to get separated. So same thing with choice E. Correct answer, C. All right, 3. Mass and volume are often referred to as intensive or extensive properties of a substance. Well, mass and volume are extensive because it depends on the amount. So if it changes with how much is there, that's an extensive property. Intensive property, it only depends on what the identity is. So mass and volume would be extensive properties. Which is an example of the law of constant composition. So here we have some options. Water and salt have different melting points. No, that's not the law of constant composition. Hopefully, even if you didn't know anything about the law of constant composition, you can tell that it has something to do with having a constant composition. All right, so water boils at 100 degrees Celsius and 1 atmosphere pressure. Has nothing to do with constant composition. Water can be separated into other substances by chemical processes. Not quite. Water is 11% hydrogen and 89% oxygen by mass. Yes, it doesn't matter where you get your water from. That is always going to be its composition, hence the law of constant composition. Water is a compound? No. So correct answer would be D. Which of the following are chemical changes, and there may be multiple? Well, let's see. Rusting of a nail. Well, that's oxidation, right? Rusting is a chemical change. So that's a chemical change. Freezing of water, that's a physical change. It's still water. It's just changing what state it's in from liquid to solid. Decomposition of water into hydrogen and oxygen gases, that's definitely a chemical change. We're changing the bonding, right? If we have H2O and we got 2 hydrogens and an oxygen, in order to break those apart, you got to break those chemical bonds. So it's a chemical thing. Compression of oxygen gas. Well, that's a physical thing. You're just physically compressing it. You're not changing any of the bonding. All right, which one of the following isn't an intensive property? So if we take a look, boiling point, that's going to be intensive because it has to do with the identity. It doesn't matter how much water you got, it's going to boil at the same temperature. The density, also intensive, right? Liquid water is always going to have the same density, whether you have a thimble full or a cup full or a whole pool full. Mass, well, this one's extensive. The more you got, the more mass you have. So it depends on the amount there. Melting point is going to be intensive. Same with temperature. So correct answer here would be C. It's the only extensive property listed. All right. And so yeah, that's this section. Hope you found it helpful. See you in class. Okay, bye.